because you're racister than I am. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. You are listening to episode number 47. On this show, we like to talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and everyone's favorite political discourse. I'm your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Made it through the intro without messing it up for the first time in several weeks.
Yeah, fantastic work.
It's probably because there was no pre-drinking involved.
Oh, that's a little sad.
But we do have the jingly now.
Yay.
Right? I have a delicious glass of Jim Beam Black. Which is, I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty average.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've got the Glenlivet. It's the only fucking bottle of whiskey that I have in my house.
That is unfortunate because
agree.
I think I probably have 20 more bottles than you do then.
That's probably a safe estimate. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be talking about just one thing today. And hopefully one thing only. That is Black Panther. July 1966, Marvel's Black Panther bursts onto the scene in Marvel's Fantastic Four number 52. Since then, T'Challa has been in several of his own titles that have kind of meandered in and out of print pretty reliably. And he's also been an interloper in a lot of other people's storylines. 52 years later, Black Panther bursts onto the scene for the second time in his own movie. After a pretty well-received reveal in Marvel's Captain America Civil War, occasionally referred to as the greatest comic book movie of all time.
By so many people.
Midget Radio, you've seen Black Panther.
Yeah.
What are your first impressions?
I mean, I don't know. I totally dug it. And I think it actually kind of reminded me of the reviews have been fucking insane for this movie. So I was expecting it to be pretty good. But it was I gotta say it was actually better than I thought it was gonna be. And it took me back. It reminded me almost a little bit of those days, the days before we heard that there was going to be a fucking Iron Man movie, and you're like, why? And then you see it and it's just fucking amazing. What a great job Marvel did in making that movie. And then the subsequent Avengers movies. Black Panther as a character, I never, ever thought I would see a movie of, and never thought I would give even just a kernel of a shit about. And I feel like Marvel did it again. They took a fucking character, my God, that I can't, that has maybe 4 fans in the entire fucking world, and managed to make, I think, a really great movie out of it.
Okay. First, I should probably say, you already know this, but nobody else listening knows. I've been sort of sick the last week or so.
Yeah.
And I think that probably affected my perception of this movie because my general feel for this movie is that it is a mess.
God, really? Okay.
But at the same time, I didn't find it terribly objectionable.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, and part of it's also probably you mentioned you don't care about Black Panther all that much.
No.
I view Black Panther in the same way that I view Deathlock.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Okay.
or probably to a lesser degree Vision, because these are characters that show up in comic books, and like you have a good storyline going, and then all of a sudden Deathlock or Vision or the Black Panther shows up and he tells you you're doing it wrong, and then there's a fist fight,
Right.
and then usually whatever, they come to an agreement, etc. And he's that kind of character. He just shows up basically when he thinks he's right.
Okay.
And so he's always kind of been like preachy. So for me to not dislike him is probably not terrible.
Yeah.
I certainly don't loathe him like I do Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
But
yeah.
to be fair, I really liked the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have several problems with this movie. And they come in kind of categories.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. I mean, I had like 2 gripes, and that was it. And they're really, one of them is excessively minor, and the other one is slightly more than minor, but not really. But I don't know, man. I think what like this movie's strength, without getting into spoilers, the fucking world building in this film is just fantastic. And it actually, like, what this movie did with, I think, developing Wakanda and the culture of Wakanda, what that city is like and how it kind of works. It's fucking exactly what I wanted to see in the Inhumans television series, where you have this kind of, I think, just a fearless fucking balls out presentation of a very unique culture that doesn't really look anything like what we've seen before. I was hoping to see that in the Inhumans, and they didn't fucking do it at all. Because I felt like Inhuman culture is just rife. I think, or it deserves to be explored. And this film, I like, it just dove headfirst into into Wakanda, and I love the end product. Wakanda is an awesome and interesting city, if for no other reason than that it is so incredibly unique.
Okay. I didn't feel that way. There were several times in this movie that I thought back to the Star Wars prequels.
Okay.
There's a line that said that, I don't know if it was lifted word for word, but it's pretty close to a line that said in the prequels, and then kind of like just I mean, sort of an absurd juxtaposition of different elements, and I don't know how you do it without being, I don't know, you just have to be more creative about it, because I understand what they're trying to do, and then at the same time, I don't know that you'd have a society that advances that far that still can rightfully be called a bunch of spear chuckers. It's just it's really, it's strange. It's just, and these 2 images that are Wakanda that are overlaid one atop another are constantly fighting with each other in my mind, and I just have a really hard time with the setting. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll get into that in spoilers, I'm sure.
I will try to hit on some of the things that we can talk about that aren't spoilery. Did you enjoy the performances in this movie?
Yeah. Overall, I did. I like the actor who plays T'Challa. This isn't a spoiler. I was really kind of irritated with his sister at first because she was just a little bit too adorable. like in the beginning, and then I fell in love with her. So I don't know what to tell you there. Like,
Well,
it seemed kind of cartoonish in the beginning, and then I fell in love with her, and that's all there is. I don't know what to say past that. Also, I think I'm gonna say it. I think Andy Serkis is probably one of the greatest living actors today. And I don't think he gets the fucking credit that he is due.
Now, Andy Serkis is kind of amazing because he's a person that you know,
Yeah.
but you never see.
Yeah, he's a goddamn chameleon. He's just amazing. Yeah.
And well, I mean, a lot of the reasons why you don't see him now is because you can do so many things with visual effects.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That it's like to understand that, like, he plays Caesar, right?
Yeah.
And he plays Gollum.
Yeah.
And I think also he's Snoke, but I don't think that's much of.
But who cares? Yeah, who gives a shit?
That's a piece of trash movie.
Yeah.
Both of them. But you have like that, and I don't know that you could identify it because you can't identify his voice.
No.
And even in this, he doesn't sound like Caesar.
No,
he definitely
fuck no.
doesn't sound like Snoke, who I guess he was trying to do like a John Kerry impersonation.
Trying to do something.
and like, holy shit, Gollum is actually like one of the just most captivating performances of like a not real character, but also like he was on set and he would do all the things and like motion capture and the voices and making a voice that doesn't sound like you're making a voice.
And it's amazing. God, we're getting really off on a tangent here, but like it's amazing to see him actually give those performances, like on late night shows and stuff, like where he'll actually do Gollum for a minute and he'll do Caesar, and you're like, so they did nothing to your voice. They did like no processing or anything to your fucking voice. That's just you. And that's I mean, that's unbelievable to see. Unbelievable. He is an extremely fucking talented person.
Well, and he's not just voices. He can emote, he can do the things.
No, yeah, that's just a piece of it. Yeah.
I don't want to get too off on it. I actually felt like his character was criminally underused in this movie.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But at the same time, we're gonna get more into it in spoilers.
Yeah.
But I thought the effects in this movie were at times rather dodgy.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anymore if it's just that like as an audience we're maybe picking up on this shit a little bit more because we're so exposed to it, or if it just wasn't done very well. But like, especially just the straight up green screen stuff where it's just the actor in front of a fucking green screen. Like it's really goddamn obvious. And that's not unique to this movie. It's definitely not even unique to this as a Marvel film. This was really noticeable in Avengers Age of Ultron actually too. But it's noticeable in a lot of places, and I don't know if it's us as an audience getting a little bit more acute on this stuff or studios getting lazy or what. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I think it hurts that you try to get into these more fantastical elements. There are some sets in this that are obviously composite reality and CG.
Yeah.
And they look so impractical, and then there's just something uncanny valley about it because I know what you mean, and then at the same time I've seen the Marvel Captain America Civil War thing where they show this is how they filmed the airport, and you're like, they're sitting in what is essentially a basketball court.
Yeah.
And then blue screen.
Yeah.
And that thing is spot on.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, that's so like the action in that scene is so interesting. I don't know if that's part of the factor that there's a little bit of a distraction there or what. But It's hard, like it's at its roughest, I think, for me in this movie. It's at its roughest when it's just sitting on the character, and the character is like having to deliver a speech or something like that, where it's like kind of an emotional moment for the character, and you can just tell how fucking fake the background is. That's for me, at least in this movie, that's when it's most noticeable, and it's kind of distracting. So you're like, you just want to let this actor perform, but put something better than a postcard behind him. Jesus.
Yeah. Or maybe just put a postcard behind him and, and we'll just call it art.
Yeah, sure.
No, I get it. I feel like we should address it because there are a couple of shots. I think for the most part, Spider-Man did a pretty decent shot, but there are one or two scenes where it's not all the way there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the problems with Spider-Man come when they just make it really dark so that maybe you don't notice it as much. And I think that they were doing that too quite a bit towards the end of this movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know.
Other performances, though, I am a big fan of Michael B. Jordan. A big fan of his ever since Creed. And I think man, it ain't a crowded field, but Killmonger is definitely up there with the best of the Marvel MCU villains. I mean, I guess it's basically just Loki. And then fucking Michael B. Jordan.
No, I think Helmut Zemo is still a more interesting villain.
Helmut Zemo? Really? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, Zemo he's just a guy.
Yeah.
And I find his just misery to be completely I find it to be really interesting.
I guess so. As a performance though, as a fucking human being, I don't know. I just like he's up there. I'm definitely not gonna argue against that. No. not as compelling, I think.
By and large, I think that Killmonger gets a little bit too much credit, but we'll get more into that later.
I like him a lot. I like Michael B. Jordan a lot. And holy shit, like, were you blown? I was a little blown away. I don't think like he's super fucking ripped, and it doesn't look right to me. I don't know. I just don't believe that he's way too fucking shredded. That's unbelievable.
Do you realize the guy's like 5'4", right?
Yeah, he's like a shorter dude, and I saw Creed and stuff, but it's like, god damn, dude, you're he's just
well. Okay, here's the thing: if you have a tiny guy, so he is a tiny person,
yeah,
and he puts on even a little bit of bulk, and you film him from a down angle, he's gonna look huge.
Yeah, but it's like the differential between like his face and his body. That's the juxtaposition that I don't quite understand. Because you look at his face and he's got a sweatshirt on, and you're like, you look like a regular dude. You look like a fit dude. And then he takes his shirt off, and you're like, holy fuck. Like, where?
It's because he's a tiny guy.
All of a sudden, it's just weird. It's just weird.
It's like if you were to go back and look at Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's competing in Mr. Universe, you would understand why Arnold Schwarzenegger won. All the people, all the guys in Mr. Universe are like 5'6" and down. And then you have like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He walks out there, he's 6'1", and he's just like, he's like three times as big as these guys. And and that's
it's true for UFC too. I mean, not to get completely off the rails here, but it's interesting. A lot of like shorter dudes who are just ripped as fuck, and you're like, oh, you only weigh 140 pounds. What are you fucking talking about? Like,
it's because he's 4'11".
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn. He is put together, but like at the same time, he's not that big.
Right.
Because when you look at Killmonger, you don't think here is a guy who's just a few inches taller than a midget.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he clearly goes to the gym. I wouldn't want to fight him still.
No,
but that's because I'm not a violent person, and I also value my life.
You're a pussy.
I don't like to fight people. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, Michael B. Jordan is 6 feet tall, according to the internet. Michael B. Jordan is fucking 6 feet tall, according to the internet.
He's not.
That's what it says on the goddamn internet. The internet knows everything. Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
So anyway, maybe Chadwick Boseman's like 3 feet tall. I don't remember. I didn't find anybody else to be all that interesting.
I liked, I enjoyed, what's his name? Martin Freeman, his presence, I like that he was in the movie. He was entertaining anyway.
Does he Get Out?
Is he what?
Get Out?
Oh, no, the British Office dude, the guy in Civil War. Yeah.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, he's always good. I don't remember people's names.
I enjoyed his performance, but yeah.
No, he's a completely capable actor. He's fine.
Nothing obviously, clearly nothing mind-blowing.
No Shakespearean performances here.
In fucking Black Panther. I would say all around fairly solid performances.
Midget Radio, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we give this stars?
I do not.
Okay, well, we're not going to do that voice all day.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Midget Radio, old school Netflix, 1 to 5. What do you give it?
4. 4 for the fucking Black Panther. Landing on 4.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I would imagine that you would. I would imagine that you would solidly recommend that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I liked this movie a lot. And for me, again, the chief strength is the fucking world building. I fucking love Wakanda. I love it. It's completely unique. I have never seen it before. And I'm totally into it.
I hope not to ruin your experience then.
You won't. You're a curmudgeon-y old man. I don't give a fuck what you think.
What I give this. No, I'm gonna have to go with a 2.
All right.
I was not terribly impressed. I think like for a while I was struggling between 2 and 2.5, but then I was just like, you're just saying 2.5, so you don't say it's a bad movie. I don't.
Yeah.
I found this movie to be a little bit frustrating, and the more that I think about it, the more frustrating it becomes.
Okay, interesting. All right.
But we'll get into the spoiler section. We'll pop up that spoiler tag.
Spoilers.
And here we go.
Okay.
Do you want me to start? Since
no, why don't you fucking ruin my experience, you stupid goddamn
Do you want to go?
No, I don't really have. No.
So you don't want to go, and you don't want me to go.
No, I want you to go. I want you to ruin my fucking film going experience. You piece of shit.
So like I think the reason why initially, this is my initial sort of recoiling from this.
Okay.
Is because I really love Civil War.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like this movie in many ways sort of undermines Civil War.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you. That is so interesting because I have the exact opposite fucking opinion of that.
Okay.
The exact opposite. I think it deepens every scene with T'Challa in Civil War. So you go, but that is just interesting that we're completely polar opposite on that.
Okay. So I did not get the feeling from Civil War that people thought Wakanda was some third world country.
Okay. All right.
I didn't get that. They have an outreach program to other places, and it sounds like and maybe it's just me inserting this into that movie, that they're there to better that nation, not that they're there to like learn from this other nation in Africa.
Okay.
They clearly have vibranium, which seems like it would be a big deal, because they say, T'Chaka says, when stolen Wakandan vibranium was used, whatever, we realized we have a duty, whatever.
Right.
And that seems to me to say this is a country that people would certainly pay attention to for a lot of reasons.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it seems like certainly in this movie, the mantle of Black Panther and the kingship of Wakanda seem to be one and the same. And
yeah.
But it's pretty obvious that T'Challa is already Black Panther in Civil War, and they even kind of address it here. And it's like, why is he eating the radioactive?
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like
that's a fair point. I mean, the only thing I could offer to dispute that is that, I mean, T'Chaka's a fucking old man, At some point, he's got to stop wearing black spandex. So you pass that shit on down to the son to take up that mantle. I mean, there's
I get it, but at the same time, it's not a hereditary thing, because we see clearly that the king of Wakanda is whoever is chosen among the 5 tribes.
Right, which interestingly, so obviously... so that's some of the world building that I actually kind of enjoyed, because it sounds like it can be hereditary unless a challenge is presented, right? And if a challenge is made, then obviously you have to honor that and go through that whole ordeal. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it seems reasonable enough, at least, to assume that whoever the king of Wakanda is going to have his son take over his position, but that position that can be challenged. That doesn't seem like too big of a leap to me.
It seemed like it wasn't explained to me, and and I just couldn't wrap my head around how why was he already in the black spandex?
Yeah, it makes enough sense. He's an old fucking dude.
No, I get that he is old, but like Wakanda is also decidedly a country that does not need a Black Panther.
Well, what? Their explanation for that is to basically protect Wakanda, to keep people from fucking discovering Wakanda, all of that shit. Maybe it's something of a ceremonial position in current day. I don't know. I don't have an issue with that.
It's hard to see. Wakanda is, at least in how they explain it, Wakanda is a nation that appears to be so useless that nobody bothers with them.
So, to some degree, or at least that their value is measured through how much fucking vibranium they have. And that... But then at the same time, like they're not exactly exploiting the fact that they have vibranium, because they have no import-export business. Which is weird in that, like, this movie seemed to indicate that, like, fucking Claw had stolen basically all of the vibranium from Wakanda, at which point the nation would essentially be utterly useless in the eyes of the rest of the world. So yeah, I get it. I'm not totally sure how you square that particular element with Civil War, though. I don't know. That just seems like that's a little bit of a boring plot point to me.
That's fine.
That I don't really care about. But yeah,
this was my first thing, because as I'm watching it, I am watching it from the position of a person who thinks that Civil War
worships Civil War as though it is the deity.
It is.
So it is.
It is certainly the current
of mankind.
It is the current reigning heavyweight champion of the world.
That's ridiculous.
But I'm interested to hear.
Clearly X-Men Days of Future Past, but I'm kidding.
I'm still interested to hear why you had a different opinion.
Well, mine was that I think Black Panther, I think this movie deepens the relationship between T'Challa and his father. It makes those scenes in Civil War more resonant. The fact that he has, witnessed his own father die in front of his face. And I mean, obviously that's like that's a pretty understandable, position. But I do think that this movie at least lends a little bit more weight to it, because it's interesting to see him deal with how much he idealized his father as the king of Wakanda, and have to deal with the fact that his father made this questionable decision to preserve the secrecy, I guess, and the safety of Wakanda as a nation. So that just adds, I think, an interesting element to Civil War. Whether there is some sort of like plot hole, I don't even know if it's a plot hole as much as it is like a plot divot, maybe. But I at least for those little character moments, for me it enriches what we saw in Civil War with Black Panther, who in Civil War was a surprising, I mean, absolutely a really welcome, I think, addition to that film, and an absolutely excellent performance in that movie. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a net gain for the MCU and for Civil War as a film.
See, as I'm listening to that, I'm thinking, well, how would almost any exploration of his father, and you had to kind of assume that his father would play some part in this movie because we've already seen him.
Yeah.
And he was such a big part of the Black Panther's reveal that they would do well to continue that story.
Yeah.
It would seem almost by definition that we would get more on that relationship, and almost any development of his father would, at least by this measure, make Civil War a better film.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would agree with that as a categorical truth.
Okay.
Just saying.
They didn't fuck it up in this movie. They
didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. His father actually has probably the best line in the movie.
Okay. What's that?
Can you remember what it was?
Fuck no. I'm full of Glenlivet.
It is very hard for a good man to be king.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
true statement.
And I like that.
Yeah. True statement for sure. Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't get a whole lot out of it.
God, really? I don't know. I loved it. What else? What else did you hate about this movie? You goddamn curmudgeon.
So part of this is Wakanda doesn't make sense to me, and also this movie, vibranium seems to be a little too synonymous with magic.
Yeah. I cannot. I can't. Look, it's comic book fucking bullshit. I am not going to argue with you on that. You either just accept it and move the fuck on, or don't. But no, it's a fair point. Yeah, vibranium does everything. Vibranium does whatever you need it to do, I guess, to move the story forward.
It's flexible.
Yep. That's not.
It's invulnerable.
That is not an unfair criticism. Yeah.
It appears to generate its own power.
Yeah. I guess. It does it does literally everything. Yeah.
If you craft it into a ball, it can be used as a radio.
Yep. Radio walkie-talkie.
As an electromagnetic pulse to disable
TV,
vehicles.
Yeah. Whatever you need it to do. Yeah. Absolutely.
A projector, a holographic projector.
Yeah.
And also, in the case of injury, you can jam it into another person's body.
Right, and that heals it, I guess. I don't fucking know. Sure. Fine. Whatever. It's the ultimate MacGuffin. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, it's comic book shit. I don't really give a shit. It doesn't bother me. But I'm not gonna fucking, I'm not gonna argue against you on it.
It's just that so much of this is just like, it just seems like bullshit. And part of it also is that, and you had a comment similar to this when we were talking about Spider-Man, but I'm like, how is Black Panther different than Iron Man now?
I agree. Yeah, that's a good question. That is a
because,
good question. Yeah.
I mean, at least in Spider-Man, he basically shrugs that off because that's not the person that he wants to be.
Right.
You know, with super kill mode.
Right.
But in Black Panther, he's wearing, and I did not like the revision to the suit. I thought the suit looked great in in Civil War.
Yeah.
But you know, what do I know? I just say nice things about Civil War anytime I can. Civil War is great.
It is great.
So, like, they change it out. He's got this thing, and I guess it's so that you can see his face, and then you cannot see his face, and that for me felt like a gimmick.
I hate it. Yeah, absolutely. I fucking hate that the entire suit is contained within the necklace. I fucking hate that it can just appear and disappear at will. It's too fucking easy. It's just too goddamn easy. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I hate all of that shit. It's so fucking convenient and just obnoxious.
It reminded me of like the Iron Man Extremis armor that
it's in his
a portion
bones or whatever the fuck. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
So like that kind of didn't do a whole lot for me. Also, the idea that, I mean, what is the purpose of two Black Panthers getting into a fist fight with each other or a claw fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm invincible. You're invincible.
Who gives a shit?
Let's see which one of us dies first of old age.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they addressed that at least well enough in the fight scene in the film, you know?
No, they did that. They went to the little electromagnetic thing.
Disabled
and it was like
the vibranium, whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it fucked it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope he goes back to a normal suit.
I do too. I don't like magic suits. I do think that's where Iron Man is now, and I would rather not see Black Panther fall down that same line. I feel like overall this is fairly minor stuff, at least for me. But yeah, I totally. I mean, I can't
it has a lot to do with
this.
It has a lot to do with like me accepting the grounds on which the story is built.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. There's magic technology. Yeah. I mean, there's magic. There's Iron Man magic, and now there's Black Panther magic, and there was a little bit of Spider-Man magic in the fucking in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I don't like any of it. And I would rather not see Marvel continue down this path, which I do feel like they are leaning into more often than not.
Yep.
Which
I mean, annoying. Like as people become more, and you might consider this a good thing conceptually, but in practice, I think that it is turning out to be a bad thing. As you put it, if you were to explain the backstory of Cable,
yeah,
it is utter nonsense.
It's insanity. Yeah, yeah,
and you accept it because you are in the in crowd.
Yes,
that cares about the X stuff.
Yes,
and like. There are plenty of other great examples in comic books of just completely ridiculous nonsense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we've already been exposed to Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. If we're willing to accept that, then why not put the hokiest stuff that's ever been put into print into a comic book movie?
Oh,
and I think that like you can just take the easy way out. They're like, well, they liked the talking raccoon.
Yep.
So, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Just make the movie. They'll buy it.
Yeah. Pretty much at this point. Yeah.
And I mean, I want more quality in my comic book movie because in part I'm not 14.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if you made Civil War, Dark Knight quality comic book movies every time.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why the bubble would never burst. But if you start dropping turds on us consistently, people will stop watching this.
Yeah, but Black Panther's not a fucking turd. It's definitely not a turd.
And like I said, I was in between sort of the 2 and 2.5. And I don't know. I probably will grow to dislike this more and more over time as it continues not to make a lot of sense to me.
Old men work, yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's called fixation, but yeah.
But like, other than being like physically attracted to his sister,
Yeah.
I didn't find her to be
Yeah.
a particularly sensible character.
Why? Well, what did she do that was insensible?
Okay.
The sister.
So she explains.
Okay.
She explains that she invented the mag rail system.
Yes. Well, so there's the mag rail system, right? And then there's the thing that dampens the vibranium, yeah, or neutralizes it, yeah.
So, did they just have a whole bunch of exploding trains before?
Well, maybe they were carrying it by hand. I don't fucking know. Like,
I mean, she appears to be a woman who's in her mid-20s.
right.
Like, what was Wakanda like 3 years ago?
They were carrying it by hand, or maybe they were using trolleys. Maybe they weren't going as fast. I don't know. Who cares?
And then like I was sort of disappointed that like you have this character and sure she's making shit that doesn't make sense. And
Yeah, whatever.
It's really well integrated into their society at this point.
Yeah.
So then she's playing Q. She has the extra time to invent a whole bunch of stuff like sneakers. Haha.
Right. Yeah.
And like there was a part of me that's like, okay, I see where this is going. And then they're like, no, we're not doing that.
What?
We're not doing the 007 thing.
Oh.
We've got agents everywhere.
Yeah.
We're going to do a dumb storyline instead where a guy comes back and tries to take over Wakanda. It's got to be the end of the world. It can't just be a James Bond movie.
But
Though
it's
I guess
not
a lot
the
of
end of
James
the world.
Bond
That's
movies-
what's so great about this movie. It's fucking not even remotely the end of the world. It's just, it's mostly just about Wakanda. That's what's so great about it. I mean, yes, there is this
Killmonger
sensation.
wanted to go on an aggressive
I understand,
war of conquest.
I understand that fucking point. Like Killmonger's his vision was to somehow fucking manage to distribute these vibranium weapons only to the people he wants them to go to, which is ridiculous. But that's what's so great about the movie. It's not a fucking end of the world goddamn apocalypse or anything like that. It's just Killmonger has this vision. It comes from a fucking very personal and very understandable point of view. And whether it manifests as this world-changing apocalypse that he sees is up for fucking debate. And that's what makes him an interesting character. There's no guarantee that that's actually what's going to happen. And clearly the Wakandans are concerned about the weapons and all of that shit falling into the wrong hands. I mean, it's a totally sensible plot line, and it's definitely not apocalyptic. I don't think so, because it's so fucking rooted in character. It's rooted in what Killmonger believes will happen and what the Wakandans themselves, or what I guess T'Challa believes will happen. It's not fucking X-Men Apocalypse, which is actually literally world-ending, and that was one of several chief issues with that movie. But yeah,
one of several issues.
Yeah. So yeah. No. What's great about this movie is that it is, in fact, I would say rooted in character and rooted in the plot line or what's at risk is fairly sensible, I think, because it's coming from fucking people, and that's part of what I love about it, aside from all of the world build. I think Wakanda is a fucking awesome goddamn country. I love the 5 tribes. I love that fucking mountain tribe so much. And their first entrance onto the scene when they challenged T'Challa for a leadership position to become king of Wakanda. I love fucking all of that. I love all of the ceremony. All of that shit is absolutely fucking great. and a wonderful addition, I think, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think typical, or what you would generally expect of just the Marvel Universe in general. It encompasses everything. It's science fiction, it's fantasy, it's magic, it's fucking mutants, it's superheroes, it's all of that shit. It's horror, it's all of this shit all at once. And this is, I think, just a fantastic addition to that unit. It feels more like the comics to me, and that it is trying to adopt basically everything, like every fucking genre that you can think of. That is Marvel Comics. And it's great. I think this movie just did it exceptionally well, and again, fearlessly. It doesn't give a shit if all of this stuff makes sense or not. And that's what I fucking love about it. To just lean all the way into some of the absurdity is excellent. I applaud them for that.
I actually did not mind Man-Ape. He was all right.
Yeah. Oh my god, and the masks. Son of a bitch. I fucking love all of the masks in this movie. God damn it. Just the ceremonial stuff. That was such a huge deal for me in this film. God, it is exactly what I wish that the Inhumans had the fucking guts to do and didn't fucking do. And this movie just got it laid into it. And I love it for that. I fucking love it for that.
I don't know, because like I didn't find it that endearing, and part of it's also this movie has a lot of bullshit around it. Like and it's hard to go into this, like,
I get it,
divorced from the fact that there is a lot of bullshit around this movie.
I get it, and I have kind of strong feelings about that, because I do think it's unfair to the movie itself. This movie fucking exists. They made this movie. We should be able to watch it independent of the sort of socio-political context in which it is delivered. And I think, independent of the horse shit, it is a fucking solid movie.
Well, I'll go so far as to say the last time that we saw this amount of bullshit around a movie was probably the Ghostbusters reboot. Right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Where, everybody comes out waving their,
it's all the ladies, yay, ladies.
Whatever.
Yeah. And this is black people. Yay, black people. Right?
Etc.
That's the theme.
It's essentially just, whatever, identity politics nonsense.
Yeah.
And like, I understand why you needed to do it with Ghostbusters, because that movie was so fatally flawed in so many ways. I mean, I don't
know. It's not that movie. It is not a bad movie. It's just not a good movie either. It's not a fucking train wreck of a film. That's stupid. It's just not a very good Ghostbusters movie. Who gives a shit? It's absolutely, honestly, I think that movie is basically just immaterial. It just, who gives a shit? It's mildly entertaining in parts, and that's fucking it. There's nothing else there. It's not a train wreck, and it's not amazing. It is a totally middling fucking film.
It's bad.
No, it's not. It's just whatever. Who gives a shit? It's totally
a comedy.
Forgettable. That's really where it is.
It is a comedy that failed to make me laugh.
It is an utterly fucking forgettable movie, and you don't have a sense of humor, so you're not really a good.
I do too.
But yeah,
because
I don't think
when Giorgio showed up as the Emperor, buddy, I laughed my ass off.
Different sense of humor.
Well, we have to get Star Trek into this episode.
We do.
Somehow.
That's true. But yeah, I think that. Yeah, who gives a fuck about Ghostbusters? I think what's sad about Black Panther is that
I mean, this is okay, here's the thing. Like, you may think that that Ghostbusters is like a 5 out of 10, and I may think it's like a 2 or a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
The point is, that movie needed it more than this.
Yeah.
Like,
it needed the political. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
It needed to play that card because basically it was never going to make its money back on its own virtue.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
This movie I didn't find like. This movie might have been better without the political bullshit, but then at the same time, in the movie, it feels like they're trying to pull at threads that are real, like real things.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in a way that like doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, explain that to me.
Well, this is actually mostly like the Killmonger and also T'Challa relationship.
Yeah, okay.
Because Killmonger's dad goes to America, falls in love with a woman, and decides that he's going to better the world by becoming essentially an arms peddling merchant.
I guess so. It's hard. We don't really get a lot from Killmonger's dad, but yeah.
We don't. But like at the same time, the only thing that you're left at is like these are guys in a project selling guns.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's clearly bad.
Well, okay, sure. I mean, you have to understand.
How you have to understand.
Well, you have to understand from that particular perspective, right? Like you have to buy into the idea that these guys feel that they are being sort of unfairly oppressed by whatever the fuck, a society or a government or whatever. You have to buy into that. Like these are people who see themselves as revolutionaries, right? You have to at least be able to empathize with that point of view to understand that motivation. They're revolutionaries. They're not just trying to sell fucking drugs to people, right? Like you have to see it from that perspective.
Okay, what if I don't? And why do I have to?
Well, you have to because that's what they believe. That's what it is to have to watch a film, right? And to consider the point of view from the character's own perspective. That's what you have to be able to do. You have to understand how they see the world, right? And then attempt to empathize with that. So if Killmonger's dad sees himself as a liberator, as somebody who has witnessed, right, the crimes that have been done against his race, against black people in general, and feels a need to liberate black people from those crimes, then that's what I think he thinks he's doing, right? Then that becomes empathetic. That's something that I think anyone could generally empathize with. You feel that you're a part of this group. This group is being fucking unfairly oppressed by the society at large, and so this is your reaction to that circumstance. That's a fairly, I think, universal point of view, because everybody thinks they're a part of a fucking group, and everybody thinks that group is probably being oppressed. I don't know. It's not a big fucking leap.
But if let's take that and let's grant for a moment that it might be true. If I feel that I'm a part of a group and I feel that group is oppressed, I don't believe that the remedy for that is to go sell guns to people.
But who gives a shit, really, whether you agree with that particular action or not? It's about understanding the motivation behind that particular decision. And that's where the empathy lies. I mean, you can point out that, like, I'm not sure that... Right, Killmonger's plan is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's totally insane. It's totally insane on its face. I think that we're just going to give our weapons to the people that we want to have them, right? And everything's going to be fucking fine from there. It's a totally psychotic and ridiculous plan, but it comes from a place that makes perfect sense. It's a reaction that makes perfect sense on a human being level. That's all it's about.
Well, I mean, it does kind of make Killmonger look like an idiot, because if he understands the politics of Africa and how, I'm gonna say this is it's tribal in nature, and there are certainly definitely cultural differences of like northern Africa, which is largely
and I don't want to interrupt
Muslim,
you, but that's
southern Africa, which is largely Christian.
But this film seems to recognize that, especially when you look at the differences between the tribes in Wakanda itself. It's not like Black Panther is not a film that presents black people as some monolithic fucking united front. Even Wakanda itself is full of strife and conflict, and those are all black people, and they're part of a goddamn secret society that enjoys the benefits of technology and all that shit. There are still fucking differences. Wakanda is no goddamn utopia, and that's part of what's actually pretty great about this movie, that it recognizes that. You know, so Killmonger's perspective almost makes him seem a little bit more naive, which is still, it doesn't make him that's just what makes him more of a fucking human being, and that's part of what makes the movie good. He's a goddamn human being. He has human being perspectives and a human being attitude toward what the world looks like. It's easy to empathize. It's easy to sympathize with him as a character. I get where he's coming from. It doesn't have to be completely intellectually fucking rigorous or accurate for me to be able to sympathize and empathize where he's coming from as a fucking villain. You know, it's great. That's why it's a pretty good movie. It's not easy. I don't
know, because like there's a part of me that I understand what you're trying to say in terms of like, if you're gonna look at a story, you wanna analyze from the character's perspective, the world as they accept it. But the thing is, at the same time, a lot of people are going to go and they're going to see a film and they're going to basically assume, in a lot of ways, the whatever art you're engaged in, your art is a projection of the world as you see it. And in a sense, the world as you see it is also truth as you see it. And like, then it starts to get a little bit more murky, because I can reject your truth. Yeah. And to that extent, you can reject my art because you don't accept my truth. And like, that's kind of where I'm at, because it's like it's just mixed metaphors, and I don't understand it.
But I don't understand. God damn it. That's why it's good art. Because the best art isn't fucking it is not monolithic statements. It is not like some fucking high-minded ideal that's being expressed or anything like that. Good art is about messy fucking human beings and messy perspectives. And it's about our reactions to that art. Our reactions to that art is generally more interesting than the fucking art itself. And that's what makes good art, I think. They are not statements. They are not statements from the fucking government or whomever. It's not, I don't know. I think there's like, sometimes you approach Black Panther as though it's like, if you approach any kind of art as though it is some sort of authoritarian figure, as though it is like rendering some kind of universal judgment, that's a terrible fucking way to approach a movie, or a book, or anything, or any piece of media, any piece of art. I think it's about how you interact with it, and it's about what that particular piece is presenting. That's what makes it interesting, and it can present an alternative point of view, and you can fucking disagree with it, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. That doesn't mean that it is somehow failed or that it is flawed or anything like that. I mean, that's what makes a good movie. Like the fundamentals of what's a good film or what's a good book, right? What's a good story? What's a good piece of narrative fiction? The fundamentals are there fucking human beings in it? Does it seem like there are goddamn human beings in this particular piece of fiction? That, at least for me, and maybe other people feel differently, and that's fair too. But for me, are there fucking human beings in it? And do they seem to be acting like human goddamn beings are acting? And in this movie, I think it checks all of those boxes, which is shocking for which is a feat in itself for especially for a fucking superhero film. I mean, there's obviously a lot of like movie bullshit in this, big action set pieces, stupid jokey interactions with other characters. Like there's a lot of like stupid tropes and trite things, whatever the fuck. It's a goddamn huge, it's a massive budget and all of that shit. It's a massive goddamn Marvel superhero movie. It's a fucking Disney production. But in spite of that, Killmonger feels like a human being. T'Challa feels like a fucking human being. These feel like human being issues. And that's all there is. That's all that matters. The larger themes, whatever you think the film is trying to communicate beyond the human being shit, I really don't care about. I really don't care, and I don't think that reflects on the film itself. It's just Killmonger seems like a human being. T'Challa seems like a human being. I understand them in terms of being human beings.
I don't know. I don't know that can be universally applied, because at the end of the day, you can apply that to, are there human beings in Crash?
There are not. And there are not. There are not human beings in Crash. There aren't.
There are.
No, there are fucking not. There are actors playing tropes, playing two-dimensional fucking characters. That's it. That is it. Killmonger's perspective makes absolute fucking sense, considering what happened to his dad, how he discovered his fucking dad how he discovered that his dad was killed. He doesn't have, there's no fucking mom in the picture, right? You can see how a goddamn person from experiencing that as a child would grow it up into what he has become. That's how a person works. Crash doesn't have people in it. It just has examples. It just has two-dimensional constructs. That's all it has. And it's a shitty movie because of that. There are not actually people in that film.
I don't know.
No,
this feels like a shaky concept.
I'll fucking argue that all goddamn day. It's about whether like character is fucking everything, I think. And Killmonger is absolutely an interesting enough character in this film, and I wish that he wasn't killed in this movie. T'Challa less so. I mean, I like the things that he's kind of grappling with as a leader anyway. But as far as like actual character, legit character exploration, certainly not as interesting.
Well, he actually felt almost like a non-character.
A little bit.
Throughout most of this movie.
Yeah.
Because he's not, I mean, he's almost going on the anti-hero's journey.
Yeah.
Like, not the anti-hero as in like the Punisher, but the opposite of the hero's journey, because you start with essentially the status quo, and then you work backwards through transformation into like a spiritual event,
right?
And then I don't even know, does he have a call to adventure? Maybe to get up out of the ice. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
He is actually not all that interesting in this movie.
No,
because
I agree. Yeah.
After you get through like the 007 stuff at the very beginning, he really he gets in a fight with Man-Ape.
Yeah. It was awesome. And
M'Baka.
Yeah. God, I fucking love that tribe. Son of a bitch, I love that tribe. The fucking mountain tribe. We don't give a fuck. You guys are shit. You guys are pussies. Oh, I love it. I love his throne room, too, with all the fucking bones hanging off the ceiling. I love it.
I don't know.
I love it. I fucking love it. That's how I want people to announce my goddamn entrance everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, but I didn't. There's, and it kind of goes back to like when he was interrupting CIA guy. I didn't like that too much.
Oh, when they were appealing to him for protection and stuff, and he was like, "Don't fucking talk. If you fucking talk, I'm gonna eat you."
Kind of.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Part of it's just that like again, it goes back to like there's so much bullshit around this film, and then you have characters saying and or doing things that are at least mildly racist in the movie, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know,
man. I'm totally into it. I think the movie was pretty on it. Like, I don't know. I think it's unfair to fucking judge this movie for. I don't even know what you would call
when I'm saying this, I'm telling you this not because I am judging it because of the outside bullshit, but it is hard to see a film.
Right.
Okay. If I were to take this to the extreme, and the extreme is that Operation Swordfish came out in 2001, right?
Okay. The Halle Berry movie? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Halle Berry shows her tits.
Yeah, her tits.
That's why we all remember the film.
Yeah.
If you saw it.
There's also that stop motion bullshit in that movie from The Matrix. The Matrix ruined a lot of movies. But yeah.
But here's the thing. That movie came out in 2001. It was largely panned.
Yeah.
I saw it on September 13th of 2001 or September 14th, 2001.
Okay.
And do you remember what the premise of John Travolta's character was in that movie?
No.
The premise of John Travolta's character is they blow up a Starbucks, we blow up a mosque.
Okay.
They kill a guy on the street, we kill, 20 children in a school or something. And it's just we will make terrorism so unstomachable through retaliatory action that no one will dare mess with us.
Right.
And on the day that I saw it, I was like, I'm kind of there.
Yeah.
And it was because it was like 2, 3, 5 days after like 5,000 Americans were slaughtered.
Yeah.
And so like that is an extreme example of like your perception of a movie can be remarkably altered by the atmosphere and sort of, your own spatial awareness, your own temporal nature.
Yeah.
And like, it's hard. I'm saying this because I understand that there are forces acting upon me in my perception of this movie. Not that I think that this movie should be judged by those outside forces.
Right. And I understand that and I agree with you. It absolutely shouldn't be. The film should be judged independent of, I think, the sort of socio-political context in which it is arrived. Because it's not a political treatise, right? It's not any of that shit. It's just a fucking movie. And it lives and dies by what makes movies great or shitty. Right? I don't give a fuck that like Gene Hackman calls people nigger in oh god, what is that? What the fuck is the name of that fucking movie? With
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you just said that because you wanted to.
No, with Roy Scheider. Shit, starts with an F. Can't remember the name.
Are you sure it's a real movie?
Yeah, Gene Hackman, Roy Scheider. They're cops. Actually, one of the things that's kind of weird about that movie is it starts out with a chase scene. It starts out with them like rousting a bunch of dudes in a bar, and it's like at night, and then they go into a chase scene during the title sequence, I think, and it's like clearly fucking daylight outside, and you're like, Jesus Christ, how much time did they spend in that fucking bar? But it's the 70s. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I mean, like to focus in, I think on that kind of shit. It's a stupid. I don't know. It's just the French Connection. That's the movie I'm thinking of. The French Connection.
Never heard of it. Is it famous?
Really? You've never heard of the French Connection? Wow. Yeah.
I have heard of the French.
I know.
Connection.
I know. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's basically just a chase movie, but it's a great fucking film. But obviously, the shallow response to that would be like, oh, I did bad words and he's like fucking racist and all that shit. Bad, but it's a great fucking movie. So I don't know. It just like it's sad to it's just sad to me. The movies, Black Panther, I don't know. I'm of two minds about this. So there are two. So there's one school of thought. I think that you have a bunch of people reacting to Black Panther and thinking it is just this fucking revolutionary film, right? That it is
it's not
right. But that there are people who feel that it is just so African, and that it just celebrates all of these things that are African, which I don't know. I feel like are kind of whatever. There are people who feel that way, and I don't begrudge them that interpretation. I don't begrudge people who derive a sort of special sense, this additional meaning in this film because it stars a bunch of black people. Nor do I begrudge the people who think that this film is more significant because of the fact that it celebrates a culture that has this class of warrior females, right? That there are females who have seen this film and feel wow, this really celebrates how strong the fucking female is, I don't begrudge any of those people that experience. At the same time, those elements are not what make this a good movie. And I mean, I admit certainly I'm aware of the fact that I'm a white male and I'm saying this as a white male, but I think even legitimately those things, the fact that a film celebrates women as warriors or that it celebrates Africans or just black people as heroes, those things by themselves do not make a great movie. That aside, I still think this is a good movie because of the quality of its world building and the quality of its characters. I still think the characters in this film are basically fucking human beings. I can understand them as human beings. And the fact that it has presented this unique culture in, I think, a compelling and coherent way. Those are the building blocks of I think good filmmaking and good just storytelling in general. Do you have human beings? Do you have an interesting environment? Have you told the story very well? And have you told the story coherently? I think this movie checks all of those fucking boxes. And that's why it's a good movie for me.
if you say so.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of that I'm supposed to respond to.
I don't. That's what I meant. I think the fucking the cultural shit is just fucking stupid. I don't care. I just don't care, and I don't. I think there are people who are like, oh well, just think it's a good movie because it's about black people, and it's that's a fucking stupid criticism, as much as it is a stupid reason to think that it's a great fucking film. It's just. It's hard to talk about this movie because the culture is so stupid right now.
And here's the thing. When I was watching this, I know that this is already going on. Yeah. And people are like, it's the first superhero movie starring a black man. And you're like, yeah. What?
I know. Blade was good. Well, Blade, despite the camera. Blade 2 is really fun, but
Blade 1 and 2 are fine.
Yeah, Blade 3 was a shit show, but
yeah. You do certainly have other black superheroes. I mean they're not super great. Yeah. Like Spawn wasn't a super great movie.
That was a terrible movie. That was a great comic, but a terrible movie. Do you remember Mantis? Do you remember Mantis?
I liked Mantis.
I did too.
Quite a bit.
I did too. I was sad it was only one season.
Was it even a full season?
I don't even know if it was that, but yeah.
Yeah. I liked Mantis.
Shit, I watched Meteor Man. But yeah.
Meteor Man, Steel.
Oh no, Shaq. I mean, what are you gonna do? Shaq's
I'm not
no actor. But
okay, if we're just talking about things that existed, it was a movie about a superhero who was black.
Yeah.
Hancock.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have any problems with it.
It has been done before. We don't need to pretend like this is some giant cultural thing.
No, I agree. Shit, I don't even understand it from, like, if you look at the entire 70s blaxploitation era, what the fuck, dude? Black Caesar's a goddamn superhero, right? Foxy Brown's a fucking superhero. Coffee is a goddamn superhero. I mean, Boss Nigger, by the way, another fucking superhero. Like, these movies have existed, and I personally actually love all of those movies. I think Coffee, actually, I think being one of Pam Grier's first movies, is one of my favorites of hers of the 70s. I think that actually tops out the list. I don't like Foxy Brown as much as Coffee. But like, I don't know. This shit has existed. I guess like the counter argument to that would be that like, well, Black Panther is the first like fucking massive, insane. I don't know, unless Blade, right? Blade's pretty big blockbuster movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, like
movie,
Blade's
so,
not.
So Black Panther, I don't know. It's just it's weird. It's weird. I don't understand it exactly. I don't totally sympathize with it. And this is, I don't know. Like, we grew up in the fucking 90s. TGIF was Family Matters. I watched Family Matters. I watched A Different World. I watched Living Single. I watched fucking Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I watched all of these.
Fresh Prince
of Bel-Air, right? There's a ton of that shit that I watched. So like,
you don't even think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit. I don't understand it. Or at least I don't really sympathize. It doesn't reflect, my own, I guess, at least worldview.
And that's something like, as an old man, I understand. Like, it's like when I was a kid, when I was young, we didn't fuss about black people, white people.
Right, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
We watched anybody on the TV.
Yeah, dude, Tisha Campbell was like one of my all-time crushes. Martin Lawrence's girlfriend in Martin. My God. Oh my God. Tisha Campbell. That proves that I'm not racist, though, right? Technically, that I wanted to have sex with a black woman. That's all it takes. Like,
well,
that's the standard.
Is it?
I don't know. Probably not.
What about oh God, Dawala, right?
Who's that?
Candace McClure on Battlestar Galactica.
No,
I know that you don't like how she ends.
A pain in the ass, though, right? Oh. Like, it's hard to get past that, right?
I got past
She's
it.
up Apollo's ass all the fucking time on that show, right? You're like, God damn it, you're fucking annoying. Oh, because Starbucks is there. God, stop being jealous of fucking Starbucks. Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't think she has anything to be jealous about.
I don't think so either, and that's what makes it all the more annoying. But what are you gonna do? I don't know. That's all.
Well, all I'm saying is, holy shit.
I know. I don't know what to say. Honestly, overall about this issue, I don't like all of the cultural baggage that Black Panther as a film has to deal with, and I don't think it's fair because I think it's an absolutely good movie, absolutely a good superhero movie in its own right, independent of its cultural context, and I think it's just I don't know, it just adds this layer to the movie that is unfair to it, because it is a good movie all by itself, just people being in a fucking movie, just human beings being in this movie and being rendered as human beings. It doesn't feel trite, it doesn't feel cheap to me. It feels like there are people in this film, and that's saying a lot, honestly, for a movie that is a blockbuster fucking superhero film.
I don't see, like, I I don't really agree with this.
Okay.
Because like so many of the characters are so forgettable for me that like literally I have to write down them by their relationship to, like, other than Umbaka, who has a great name.
Yeah.
It's like sister.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
She's in like 2 or 3 scenes. She has probably 3 times as many lines.
But again, comparing this to like Iron Man, who are the characters in Iron Man?
Iron Man.
Tony Stark. That's fucking it. And it's a and it's a great fucking movie.
Well,
and that's it. That's it.
Let's be honest. You have Jeff Bridges, who
gives a shit? He's just a bad guy. He's the
I understand
dude,
he's just a bad guy,
but he's just the bad guy.
But he does such a good job just being a bad guy.
I'm absolutely gonna fucking disagree with you on this. I don't think he does anything more significant than anything anybody else turned in Black Panther. He's Jeff Bridges, and you're like, that's the fucking dude. Man, I love the Big Lebowski, and that's it. Like, there's Robert Downey Jr. and there's
more
nobody
likely
else.
True Grit.
No, fuck that. It's the Big Lebowski through and through.
No,
it's
I actually don't really like that movie that much.
God, oh my God, you're such a fucking old man. It just makes me so angry. Like,
I hate you.
So angry how old you are. How old, just old. Just decrepit and old, just in the grave already. I'm talking to a fucking.
So like, then you have
but...
like you have the general lady, and she almost comes off as being a character, but
no, I think she's the weakest of the bunch.
What about love interest?
Yeah, love interest. So that was actually my only gripe with this movie is that, and I mean, people have disagreed with me on this, which, you know, fine. But yeah, I thought the love interest was completely fucking boring, totally uninteresting. I never really bought into that relationship overall. Certain people did, fine, you know, I ain't the authority, but yeah, I didn't really see anything between those two.
I actually forgot that she was a character for a time in this movie, and so
we didn't get much of her, like that.
This is the thing. This is funny because what happens is, like, Black Panther wins. T'Challa is the king.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he's just like macking on this chick, and you're like, is that his sister? Oh no. His sister is, man, by the end of that movie, like, seriously, like, I saw his sister at the beginning and I was like, I don't know, this feels a little forced. It feels a little like comedic for comedy's own sake, you know. It just feels a little shallow to me. And then by the end of the movie, I was like, she's maybe the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know. I was completely fucking in love with her by the end of this film. But his girlfriend, his love interest, potential queen of Wakanda or whatever, basically
never really landed for me. Yeah, never really landed. And it's, God, I mean, we're talking about a fucking Marvel superhero movie, a secondary character, by the way. So I can't really level too much shit on this, but yes, I do think it's kind of shallow. She's a do-gooder. That's all she is. I mean, she's just a do-gooder. I want to do good. I want to do good. That's fucking it. She's the fucking Luke Cage of this movie. You know, I don't really care.
Well, and like, there are other characters like that. Like, I didn't like Get Out in this movie.
Yeah, I thought, well, his sudden sort, like, he was a weirdly harsh character, right? Like T'Challa's like, I'm sorry, you know, we Claw slipped through our grasp, and he's like, oh, you're a pussy. You're a fucking pussy, and I'm gonna betray you now. It's like, dude, what the fuck? That's a bit of a harsh reaction. Like, that's kind of extreme.
Doesn't he? I don't understand what exactly his role in life is.
Well, he's it sounds like it seemed to me like he was the leader of, like, what, the fucking water tribe or some shit. I don't know. Like
a rhino farmer,
a river-based tribe. So the rhino thing, I thought that was funny because the first time we see the rhinos, like they're all painted up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, you guys just fucking paint up goddamn everything. Like, what the fuck? Why do you have to paint up this goddamn rhinoceros?
Well, it's because you can blow a whistle and they'll immediately be
and then it's
anywhere.
a fucking battle rhinoceros, and then I was way into it. Because that's
really
a battle rhinoceros. How the fuck are you not into a battle rhinoceros? Tactic Angel, you son of a bitch.
I don't really look forward to watching the X-Men run around in the Savage Lands.
In
I don't know.
what way is a battle rhinoceros a bad thing? You old bastard. A battle rhinoceros is fucking awesome.
I feel like I'm talking to a 4-year-old.
This is a movie, right, about a superhero.
I understand
in a
it's a
comic
movie.
book universe. Like,
I understand it's a movie about a man who dresses up like a kitty cat.
Yeah, he does.
And I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, and he's like, what do you think of Black Panther? And I'm like, I'm not really all that into it. I had some continuity issues, and it didn't work for me. And he's like probing me for more information. I'm like, honestly, the problem with complaining about this movie is that somebody's going to say to you, it's a movie about a man who dresses up like a panda. And at a certain point, there is no sense in making a panda would be a significantly more dangerous animal than a cat.
A panther? I don't know. Panther versus panda.
Panther, yeah. I
don't know.
Yeah. Kitty cat.
Yeah.
Kitty. He's got the little kitty ears.
Purrs and everything, yeah.
Honestly, I would really have preferred if he had the cloak. I like him with the cloak. Anyway.
Okay.
then it starts to look like he's trying too hard to be Batman.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah.
But like he has that usually wears that cloak with like the big collar thing.
He does have a collar. Badass. Yeah. Well, it's regal. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like
he's a fucking king. Yeah.
He's the fucking king. Yeah. Look at him and his thing with this stuff. But anyway, there are a lot of characters in this movie that just didn't like register for me. Like Get Out and like the other people and the rhino farming is whatever. And like at the same time, it's like I have this cloak and it makes a shield of invincibility. And it's like, as you're saying these things, it's like, oh my God, I'm talking to 4-year-old midget radio.
No.
Of course, 4-year-old midget radio would say that.
No.
No,
I don't understand why this doesn't transfer into the Iron Man universe. I guess that's my issue with your perspective on this. Like,
I guess
it doesn't
like
seem to transfer into Tony Stark fucking also magic goddamn technology fucking universe. Like, it's still plot bullshit. It's still just horseshit.
No, I have complained about this in terms of Iron Man 2. For some reason, there's this secondary storyline. Like the B storyline is that Tony Stark's suit is slowly killing him. And you're like, that's interesting. Like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing in his chest. And like yeah.
And if you had like, well, I mean, like the fact that he uses more power makes it more dangerous to him and he dies quicker, right?
Right.
Like that's part of the thing.
Yeah.
And like it would be really interesting if Tony Stark had to deal with that. And you saw Tony Stark, like he makes at the end of the first movie a definite decision that it's like you need to blow the reactor and it'll kill you. And it's like it doesn't matter.
Right. Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan, fucking decision making.
And like that's a decision in a moment, but to see a person who's actually like living and suffering with the consequences of their power, like that would have been interesting. But no, it's fucking just some congratulations, you've discovered a new element. You're like, that's a fucking bullshit storyline.
Well, I can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm absolutely not gonna like debate with you as to whether like Tony Stark is a more compelling character in the MCU than T'Challa. He obviously is. Like, he obviously is, and he has a lot more conflict. And T'Challa himself seems to have virtually no weakness, which is not interesting.
Well, I mean, he almost can't.
Yeah, in a way, I mean, it's interesting. Like, T'Challa, I think his strength is going to be, as at least a character, his strength would be figuring out how to rule. Like, his story is about how to be the leader of a nation and how to be a fucking decision maker in that sense. You know, Tony Stark's path is much different from that. Stark is a goddamn character. His decision is about just trying to figure out what the fuck he actually thinks means anything in the first place, right? And then acting upon that. But yeah, Stark is a more interesting character than T'Challa for sure. But still, like, the magic technology shit, it still like infects and affects those fucking movies, and I think it does so to an equal degree. So
I think that, like, certainly in the first movie, it's not really a problem.
In the first movie, it's not.
I think in the second and the third, it definitely is.
But in every subsequent film, I think it continues to manifest. Like, not just Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, but Iron Man and Tony Stark as a character going forward into the Avengers and every other, and Spider-Man Homecoming, all of that shit. Everything he's appeared in since, it continues to be a fucking problem for him as a character.
They said something up so good in Avengers 2. And Avengers 2 turns out to be just a shit show.
It is.
Of a movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sadly.
And it's like Tony Stark could be such an interesting character, and Robert Downey Jr. is absolutely more than capable,
quite clearly,
of doing anything that they put in front of him.
Yeah,
and it's like the idea that Tony Stark, in an effort to make the world safe, has imperiled it, and he's just like so afraid of losing, like, what he has, his friends, his lifestyle, his he doesn't have a wife and kids.
Yeah,
these are really his family,
and his legacy as well. Like, that selfish.
His legacy
that's
as
what's
well.
I love that about his character. But
he also has like really good redeeming aspects to his character too.
Yeah, he's a human.
In that search, he creates Ultron, and like that is great. Now that Ultron becomes evil inside of 3 minutes on Wikipedia,
I know,
is kind of not interesting.
Yeah.
But like, if they had actually played up that theme, that would have made that movie so much better.
Yes.
And if Tony Stark didn't make it through Iron Man 2 lickety split because he invented a thing, and you see him go into Iron Man 3, and he's basically like at death's door, and you can choose whatever.
Yeah.
You can even have like a Deus Ex Machina at that point, that like the Watcher comes down and says, I deem you worthy.
Right. And, you are necessary for future events, but
and no, but like that in a certain way would be interesting, because you'd have almost like a religious experience for him. And in a lot of ways, like it can be disconnected with the idea of organized religion. You can do it in a way that it's more spiritual than
fade
specifically
or whatever.
Denominational. And like that would be interesting too, because we as humans are sort of naturally given to believe in these sorts of constructs. And like, that would say something, and everybody in the theater would probably be able to relate. Even even fucking Dawkins probably would be able to understand it. And like, that would have been better.
Yeah.
And I fully understand that would have been better. I'm not making excuses for Iron Man because I like Iron Man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think that this movie suffers because of all of the things that I've mentioned up to this point.
Sure. And that's why I think it's important to just divorce all of that shit from this fucking movie. Black Panther in its own right, as its own standalone film, is a perfectly entertaining fucking superhero movie.
I was not unentertained. I just find it increasing. I don't know. It's like Star Trek, the Star Trek.
Yeah.
I didn't find that to be like a wholly dislikable movie at the time.
Right.
But I have grown to hate it.
Yeah, me too. Well, me too.
But I think I've grown to hate it largely because of what it stands for.
Yeah, me too. Same here. And yeah, so the thing that I find so appealing about Black Panther is the fucking world building. I have not seen that culture in a TV show or in a movie before. I've never seen it before. And it's interesting and I like it. It's unique. I love the fucking masks. I love all of that. I don't know what to say. If you find something more significant in the film, good for you. Good for you. But beyond that, I mean, I like the characters. I like the fucking city. I like the culture. And again, I haven't seen this shit before, and it's interesting enough to me. It's totally fucking entertaining movie. It's a completely entertaining movie, and I can't compare it to really anything else I've seen before. It's just creative. So the other like sort of like kind of shallow, stupid, ancillary thing that I liked about this film, right? The virtual car, the virtual piloting. I really liked that. You throw a thing on a car and that creates this like virtual fucking control panel, right?
This really does sound
I love it. I love it.
Midget radio.
That's cool. That's cool shit. Like that's cool shit that I haven't fucking seen before, right? And even when they were like monitoring those vehicles in Africa and T'Challa like was able to pick up that vehicle, you know, and like brush the dust off it and put it back down. Like that's cool. Like it's just cool shit. It's just interesting, creative. Wow, I really like that. Like that's creativity. That's totally fucking legit. I've never seen it before. It's in this fucking movie. I thought it was really cool in the first Iron Man movie when he was interacting with a computer via holographic technology. That was cool. He's like, I'm not using a mouse. I'm using my fucking hands to like browse and like all this shit. Like it's totally cool. It's an interesting next step. And it deserves credit. This is a fucking Disney superhero movie. I don't know what other fucking things it needs to accomplish in order to be considered a good Disney superhero fucking movie. You know, so that I don't know. That's where I am. It's creative. It presented things I've never seen before. Those things were interesting. And it felt like it had human beings in it. So that's a good movie. That's a good superhero fucking blockbuster movie.
Do you have any other points? Because I know that you have hit on the same dead horse several times. At this point.
Well, the only other thing I'll add. Did you see his sister in this movie?
I did.
Okay. She was amazing.
And I totally would.
I love her. That's it.
I have a theory.
Okay.
That it goes beyond this movie appeals to the 4-year-old midget radio.
Okay.
Midget radio likes this movie because this movie is their murderocracy.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Is it? I don't know. There were a lot of people left alive at the end of this movie. So,
for those of you not listening, Midget Radio supports an I am king, and if you don't like what I'm doing, come kill me.
Yeah.
System of government.
That's true.
And that is known as the murderocracy.
Yeah, that's true. It's clearly efficient. Yeah.
So So T'Challa is like, I'm gonna be king. And then Ape Man comes in.
He's like,
or
fuck
Man Ape,
yourself.
and he's like, I'm gonna murder you. You're not gonna be king.
Yeah.
And then he tries to murder him and he doesn't. So then T'Challa becomes king. And then later, Killmonger shows up and he's like, I'm gonna challenge you.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be king. I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah.
And then he
Murders
Forrest Whitaker,
Yeah.
who I believe plays a character named Forrest Whitaker in this movie.
He was good. He was good as Forrest Whitaker. Yeah.
Save the Republic! Save the dream! Anyway.
No, fuck you. I'm going to push back on this crap. Because there is a fairly legitimate theme that's worth exploring in this movie, which is what is the superpower's obligation to the rest of the world? That's absolutely worth thinking about, worth exploring, and the film does that well as you can expect a fucking Disney superhero movie to do.
I'm not even talking about that.
I know you're not. You're shitting on it right now and trying to demean it, and that's what I'm pushing
saying
against.
that you support this because this is a murderocracy. Michael B. Jordan comes back to murder T'Challa.
I don't support it for that reason. It's actually a good movie. That's why I like it. And it has human beings in it that Tactic Angel can't fucking sympathize with, apparently, because of plot holes. But that's it. Like, it has a legit theme that's totally worth exploring. What is the superpower's obligation to the rest of the fucking world? That's a completely reasonable question to ask. And while you'll fucking bullshit all day about Spider-Man Homecoming and why that's a good movie, this is at least as good. This is at least as good for the same fucking reasons. For the same fucking horseshit reasons. You know, it's fine. It's a fucking superhero movie at the end of the day, and what the fuck?
We can't just like superhero movies for being superhero
He wants to
movies.
save the villain. That's why it's so good. Because he tries to save the villain at the end. That's why it's so good. That's your reason for liking Superman, or for liking fucking Spider-Man Homecoming. Who gives a shit? Whatever. It's one scene in the fucking movie.
I like
Killmonger is a completely goddamn empathetic figure. It is totally fucking easy to understand where he is coming from and what is motivating him and why what's motivating him is so dangerous.
I understand what's motivating him, and I understand why the things that are motivating him are dangerous. I just think that he is a dumb character.
He's a good character, and you're wrong. He's a good character. He's a goddamn human being. He's a fucking human being. And there are people who think exactly like Killmonger and have exactly the same goddamn kind of reasons to think like Killmonger thinks. It's completely fucking easy to empathize with as just a human being. I have seen people of my own skin color victimized to a degree that I find abhorrent. And I feel like there's something I need to fucking do about that. That's human beings.
There's all sorts of atrocities that have been perpetuated because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Like, it's great that the movie asks those questions. Right? Even in the beginning of the fucking film, even in the title sequence itself, where it renders black people from fucking Africa being rounded up by white people from fucking America, shipping their asses into America to be fucking slaves. And Wakanda's like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fucking shit. We need to remain. We need to be secret. We need to protect ourselves, our own Wakandan citizens. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. What's Wakanda's duty? And
I don't know.
That's good. It's good. These are genuinely interesting things to ask about. I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man Homecoming does the same thing. I don't really understand why you don't see the parallel between those two. These are legit things to ask. Like, whether you fucking believe in them or not doesn't fucking matter. It's just...
That reminds me why there is a... Okay. This I did catch at the time, but Killmonger goes on a speech about I've killed my brothers and sisters, whatever, all this nonsense.
Yeah, get to you, just to kill you. Yeah,
and it's, first of all, you're awful, but
it's awesome. Yeah,
and then at the end of it, it's like we have already addressed that the continent of Africa has a lot of problems.
Yes,
in this movie.
Yeah.
And Wakanda, which is on Africa, is like, you know who needs our help the most? Orange County.
What?
LA.
What the fuck?
We're gonna go build.
It is absolutely one.
This is our outreach center.
Because that's where it started, right? Because that's where his dad, like, it makes that you're being kind of a shit about this, but that's where this kind of started. That's part of the significance of the film, right? Where his dad made this decision.
Is that where you got out of it?
That he disagrees with, and that's where he's starting. That's a fucking character moment. You're kind of a bitch about this, but I think you're being a little bit of a troll on that, but
not a troll. Probably,
I think a little bit of a troll because you have to
probably
consider
like
T'Challa's a human being and
hyper patriotic is probably the thing.
I understand that's how you would see it because it's impossible for you to see yourself as that all.
What, as a troll?
Yeah, as a troll. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Why do you think that I'm on Facebook?
That is, oh God, that is where they live. But yeah.
But no, it's just like when you look at it, it's like, shouldn't you help people who, like, honestly,
that is
those people aren't that
fucking critics. That is the critics' ultimate fucking respite, right? Oh, well, but there are these other people that are in more need than these people you've decided to help, so aren't you kind of a piece of shit? For, like, God, it's just, you can't fucking win. You can't fucking win against a troll. They're gonna find something to criticize. That's how it works. That's their whole fucking modus operandi. Like, that's the whole thing. Find something to fucking criticize, find some fucking flaw, and just lean into it. And that's all there is. So, you know, there's nothing to say to those people. There's nothing to fucking say. They're just mad and old and curmudgeonly. Tactic Angel, you bastard. But no, I don't know. That's a stupid criticism because it comes from a fucking human being. It comes from a goddamn human being place. I want to try to right the wrong that my father created. I want to right the wrong as I see it. That's how human beings fucking operate. You can criticize it and be a piece of shit if you want to. That's fine. Good for you. But it doesn't make it a bad movie. Doesn't make it a bad film. So
downvote, unsubscribe. No, it did not resonate with me.
Which is fine. Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I don't have any issue with that.
And I don't have I just don't when he does that, it looks to me like he's like, this is the worst. I need to go. And you're like, it's really not the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, and it's certainly, America can do a lot better.
Yeah.
But like,
that's not a reasonable. I don't know. I don't feel like that's a reasonable perspective. He's a fucking person, just like you are a fucking
hierarchy
person.
Of needs.
And I would love to see you in any kind of position where you actually have to make fucking decisions that affect a fucking country or a planet or a society or a people.
I would love to see that too.
I would love to see that because Jesus Christ, because basically you would be wide open to criticism and probably just fucking ignore it. Just say, well, I'm right. I'm universally right. I'm Tactic Angel. I am a goddamn genius. There is nothing wrong with any decision I have ever made. Sounds like I think you would be a fantastic ruler of North Korea. But
I'll tell you this. I would be a better ruler of North Korea.
I have no doubt about that. But
I think that we have pretty
immune to
much
criticism. But
no, I can take criticism. The thing is that I just don't care.
yeah. Well, neither does T'Challa. You son of actually.
It's like I'll just turn to them and I'll be like, well, that's like your opinion, man.
My God, this episode has gone completely off the rails.
All right, I'm gonna declare that it's over.
Okay, that works for me.
That this has been episode number 47 of the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. Please give us a like if you've enjoyed this video, or subscribe to our channel if you're really nice. You can also find us on Twitter, where we are at WNG_MME_OBC, or head on over to Facebook, where we are simply the Wednesday Night Gentlemen. Thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you again on episode number 48 of this podcast.
Bye-bye.